And with that, let's now shift focus over to two lunar missions which are grabbing headlines, and that is of India and Russia. They have both started their race to the moon's lunar south pole with Chandrayaan-3 of India and Luna-25 of Russia. The question that stands in front of us is who will win this new space race? First of all, is it even a space race or is it a common human quest to explore the uncharted terrain on the moon, and more specifically, what exactly is the driving force to the moon? On 11th of August, Russia launched its first moon landing spacecraft in 47 years and joined India to race for the moon. Around a month ago, India had launched its dream project Chandrayaan-3 to aim for the moon, which is expected to make a soft landing on the lunar surface on 23rd August. It's important to note that both these spacecraft are going to make an attempt to land on south pole of the moon. No lander has ever successfully gone there before. Was the timing planned? Mostly not, but now the entire world has its eyes on these two spacecraft. If successful, we will not have just one but two vehicles on moon competing to find water and useful minerals. Now, while we wait for the end results, Russian officials have said that they surely want to be the first aircraft to make a successful landing on the south surface. However, it will be interesting to see if slow and steady for now Chandrayaan-3 wins this race or not. But before that, let's also discuss what's driving the new race to the moon. Here's a report.
Russia launched its first moon landing spacecraft in 47 years. In doing so, it's joined the race to become the first nation to make a soft landing on the lunar south pole. That's a region believed by scientists at NASA and other space agencies to hold coveted pockets of water ice in its shadowed craters. Rough terrain makes landing there difficult, but the prize of discovering water ice could be historic. The Russian mission is competing against India, which launched its own lunar lander last month.
Plus 5 seconds.
It's also up against China and the United States, which also have advanced exploration programs. A Soyuz 2.1 rocket carrying the Luna-25 craft blasted off from the Vostochny cosmodrome before being boosted out of Earth's orbit toward the moon over an hour later. It's expected to touch down on the moon later this month. There's much riding on this mission. The Kremlin says the West's sanctions over the Ukraine war, many of which have targeted Moscow's aerospace sector, have failed to cripple the Russian economy. But the moonshot will test the nation's growing independence in space. Its invasion of Ukraine has severed nearly all of Moscow's space ties with the West, beside its integral role on the International Space Station. The European Space Agency had planned to test its Pilot D navigation camera by attaching it to Luna-25, but also cut ties with the project after Russia invaded Ukraine. For centuries, astronomers have wondered about water on the moon, which is 100 times drier than the Sahara. Although major powers have all been probing it in recent years, no country has yet made a soft landing on the South Pole.
What's driving the new race to the moon? Major powers like the US, China, Japan, and the EU have all been probing the moon over recent years. A Japanese lunar landing failed last year, and an Israeli mission failed in 2019. There's been a focus on the South Pole, where no country has been able to reach yet. Rough terrain makes landing difficult, but the prize could be historic. Ice that could be used to extract fuel, oxygen, and drinking water. Russia and India are racing to get there first.
Yeah, Russia's aspirations towards the moon are mixed up in a lot of different things. I think
Asif Siddiqui is a professor of history at Fordham University.
There's always been speculation that there's water on the moon, and that's important if you want to build permanent settlements on the moon. So I think what Russia is trying to do is really spearhead that investigation and be at the forefront of it. So the fact that they're exploring the South Pole isn't an accident.
Astronomers have wondered about water on the moon for centuries, which is 100 times drier than the Sahara Desert. It was only in 2020 that NASA confirmed the existence of water there. India sent up its Chandrayaan-3 lunar lander last month after the Chandrayaan-2 failed in 2019. But Russia may also have political ambitions behind its space missions, especially as it faces sanctions from the West over the war in Ukraine.
First and foremost, it's an expression of national power on the global stage. Russia wants to go to the moon partly to assert its national place with the big guys, so to speak. China has already announced plans to return humans to the moon. The U.S. has a major program called Artemis that it is in the middle of. So there's a lot of activity going on. Russia, because it lacks the economic power of the United States, has allied with China. So it's possible that what the Chinese do, the Russians may actually piggyback on top of that in the next 10, 15 years.
All right, so let's try and get in some more inputs and some insights into what these two lunar missions will not just mean for India and Russia, but for the entire quest for the moon. And for that, let me introduce my guest today. I'm joined in by Dr. Suresh Naik, who is the former Group Director of ISRO. Many thanks to you, Dr. Naik, for joining in. Many are calling this a race to the moon and a race between India and Russia. Would you call it a race, or is it a common human quest to explore the undiscovered terrain?
Yeah, I would look at it this way, that it is from ISRO's point of view, I don't think they had the question of racing against the other countries, because they declared this mission. In fact, they had the first attempt 4 years back, and this is the second attempt they are doing now. And I think till the Russian Luna-25 was launched, I doubt whether it was known to the world before that.
True.
So from the India's point of view, I think it is a surprise. But India has already welcomed it and sent, ISRO chairman has sent good wishes to the Roscosmos, that is the Russian space agency. Yeah, but one thing is certain, that now the space-faring countries of the world, like of course India, Russia, America, China, they are all concentrating on the southern side of the moon.
Absolutely, Doctor. And when we talk about the arrival of both the lunar missions, what is that key factor that is governing the differing arrival times of these two lunar missions? Remember, Chandrayaan was launched much earlier than Luna-25, but it is expected to make it to the moon's surface before Chandrayaan. Having said that, what is ensuring this timely arrival of Luna-25, and what is that factor that is governing their arrival times?
Actually, I will put it this way, that Russia is arriving at the moon much faster. That is, I think, in about 6 days, whereas India took more than a month, okay, and to arrive at the moon. So this actually is because there are two reasons. One is India's rocket is not as powerful as Soyuz, that is the Russian rocket, and India wants to take a safe way to moon. Safer way to moon is to keep it in the Earth's orbit, increase its orbit by sling action due to gravity assist of the Earth, and raise it to beyond actually the balance point between Earth and Moon's gravity, and then give it a boost so that it starts its journey towards moon. Because in order to start the journey, the velocity has to be about more than 11.2 kilometers per second. So India has designed it, the whole trajectory in such a way, and its advantage it becomes a low cost mission, and India always prefers its mission to be low cost and safer. Now, on the other hand, Russia has planned a direct shot to the moon, not around the Earth first, circuitous route, but straight line to the moon. And now, in this particular approach, it is rather risky because it can miss the moon, and secondly, it is costlier. Okay, and thirdly, why Russia had such a time advantage over India's Chandrayaan-3 is Russia's satellite is half the weight of Chandrayaan-3. So the acceleration which Luna-25 gets due to its rocket is much higher because the mass it is carrying is half. So all these three factors together make Russian Luna-25 to reach in a shorter time, because it took off from the Earth on 11th of August as against 11th of August as against 14th of July of Chandrayaan-3. Okay, almost a month later, and it has reached the lunar orbit successfully on 16th, that is yesterday, and that is confirmed by Roscosmos. So now we know that Russia has really managed to successfully enter the lunar orbit in spite of the straight flight they took. And another important thing here is Russia has got experience of sending a straight shot to the moon earlier.
All right, many thanks to you, Dr. Nayak, for sharing those precious insights with us. I'm sure you'll be keeping a very close watch on both the missions, and we'll keep connecting with you.